back to the lounge and the Love the Game at Coaches Forum, and I'm now joined by three AFLW head coaches. We've got Steve Simons, Natalie Wood and Beck Goddard. Thank you so much for joining us.
Thanks for having us, Ab.
Now, this is an excellent group to have a bit of a discussion around creating and building culture. I look at Beck and Nat in particular. You're currently in the depths of the list build at your respective clubs with expansion coming in, but Beck, when you're looking at, your list build this year, what's important to you when you're trying to, juggle the balance between, young, exciting youth, but also experience and leadership and culture?
Yeah, well, I think culture's an interesting word because everywhere you go, it doesn't matter if it's the first time you're at a place or, the last time you're at somewhere, there's always a culture, and it's what does that look like? And when I think about culture, I think about a really big fluffy pillow, and if we opened it up out the front of a house, ripped that pillow open and the feathers flew into the air, and then we tried to go back and pick up those feathers the next day, how many would you get back?
Yeah.
And so it's about the quality of the feathers in the pillow and making sure that you start the next day by the way you finished the last, and having a diverse group of people, like you've just said, different age, different diversity, different experiences in life to create that winning environment.
Well, you were obviously a part of it in year one with a list build with Adelaide. You went on to win the premiership. So with your mind...
So did you.
Yeah, I did.
You were there.
I did.
You were there.
But from that experience, are you using that same mindset in this list build, or are you looking at all of the learnings from those years in particular in the way that you go about it?
We love the word learnings in
do.
footy. There's a lot that I've learnt professionally and how to work in football that I've certainly taken with me and I'm also, being at Hawthorn now and being part of Sam Mitchell's football program has really helped me on that football journey. But I think it always comes back to being a good person and loving football and having kindness to everyone that you're around and that you're there for a common journey. And those things never change in football, that love and the standards and the effort that you want to bring each week.
And Steve, from your perspective, what influences have you, seen throughout your career so far that have, played a big part in the culture that you've built today at Collingwood?
Yeah, I think it's a wide range of different things that you get exposed to. I guess I've been fortunate enough to be involved in a number of clubs over my journey and all at different levels as well. So you grab a little bit from each environment that you're in, and obviously through your work, places that you work within and the people you work within, you're also always analysing, observing, grabbing little bits. But also, I've got a young family as well, and growing up with family and being a father, so you grab characteristics of being a father as well as you go along the journey, and sort of all those experiences you combine into one and grab the bits out that you think are really strong and set your principles around them, and then from there you're shaping your principles amongst your playing group and really creating the environment for them to work in. Culturally, the environment is the big thing that I really work on, trying to shape that right environment for every single member, whether it's a staff member or an athlete, to work in and to grow in and be themselves in is really important as well. So.
And Nat, what about from your perspective in the side that you're going to put together? I think we speak so often about standards and really driving them within a playing group and a football club. But standards, it's not necessarily what people do on the field, but it's more importantly what everybody does off the field, isn't it?
Yeah, absolutely. And I think, it's easy to say take the wins and losses away, but I think it's so important to have things that internally you're measuring your success to, and that's got to be based off behaviours. Steve and Beck just both said that, it's really important to have common goals, and I think, the more clarity that the whole organisation has, from your staff to your coaches to your players, if you have a clarity around that common goal and you all understand your actions and behaviours within that, and then can set little milestones and achievement standards that then will allow you to have success on the field. But being able to internally recognise what those standards and achievements are, I think is really important as well, because it allows you to celebrate some really positive cultural steps forward, even though you might not be winning yet at the time. It allows you to really internalise and celebrate that.
Well, you've coached for a long time, but, first year at Essendon Football Club, with the women's program coming in, have you sat back and looked on to Ben Rutten and what he's doing with the men's program over the last month or so since you've been announced? I know Beck's, working full-time in the men's program as well. So what have you really picked up on, as you said, a side that necessarily hasn't had the start to the season that they would have hoped for?
Yeah, exactly like Beck, I've been involved in the men's program for the last couple of months and been able to immerse myself in their philosophy and how they educate their players and also how they operate as an organisation. And as you said, like the wins aren't coming for the boys at the moment. And I'm seeing firsthand, internally a real considered, real measured approach and real focus on the controllables. Obviously, there's a lot of noise that happens on the outside, but it's terrific to see Essendon's a large organisation. It's terrific to see them really sticking to what they have as their milestones and their goals, but also being prepared to sit back and reflect and tweak some things along the way, but still staying to the vision that they've got. And it's been really impressive to see, the difference between the external noise to the control, the consideration and the deep thought and almost calmness that's within the four walls.
Yeah, absolutely. We've got a competition question as well that I'm going to throw out to each of you now, and it's from Cameron at Ocean Grove Football Netball Club. He's asked, the balance at local level of building a culture based on community, mateship and respect is what we are building on, but without being as successful on field, how do we keep these players believing in this philosophy? So Nat, you've probably just touched on that a little bit.
I just did a little bit, so I might pass over to these two.
Steve?
I think, as Nat just spoke about making sure you've got a clear vision about what you want to be and where you want to go. I think once you've got the end goal and the vision of what it looks like, then everything else falls in underneath. And I think it's about making sure that everyone understands the little steps that need to be towards that vision.
Yep.
And then as you go along each step and start succeeding and ticking off each step, being rewarded and getting that sense of purpose from reaching each milestone as you go along and acknowledging the persons who've gone above and beyond to reach that milestone is really important as well, so that everyone gets the reassurance that everyone's heading in the right direction, but also getting the reassurance and the acknowledgement of their work as they go along. So I think that's the key.
Awesome. Well, that was a good answer from you. And Beck, did you have a quick comment on that one?
Oh, Cameron, was it?
Yes, Cameron.
I've been there, Cameron. I know your pain. It reminds me of my local club, the Gungahlin Jets, when I first started coaching, and we used to lose for 2 seasons straight. It was about 180 points every game, and I couldn't work out for the life of me why the players were still coming back to training every week after getting absolutely smacked. But it was because they were having a good time with their friends. And they got to do things socially and stuck together. And it took about 7 years, but they finally got a premiership. So just stick with it. Like Steve said, the little wins I think are really important, and you celebrate those little moments, whether that's something within a game, something outside of the game, but celebrate those little wins and it'll take you to the next big one.
Awesome insight from you three. I've loved having a chat with you here today, but thank you for joining us and best of luck with season 7 in the AFLW. Stick with us. Jared goes one-on-one with Premiership coach Paul Roos next.